So thanks to those guys. Great plastic. Always fits fantastic. And let's bring our first guest on the show, brought to you by the folks at Acherbys. He's a sneaky, under-the-radar pick, Blake, to do big things this year. Joey Savatgy, what's up, man? How are you?
Howdy, boys. How's it going?
We're good, man. Thanks for coming on. So, I don't know if you're aware of this, Joey, but low-key hype on you right now.
Oh, who's this coming from?
I've got people who have seen you ride.
Oh, God. Here we go again. Here we go again.
No, I'm being dead serious. I was told last week that you're riding really well.
Well, I mean, I appreciate that one, but I do feel good, if I'm being honest. I've, for whatever reason, gel with the Cowie, really well, in my opinion. And the last couple of years, I've felt good in practice, but I've never felt, extremely comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just, I've had to take a different approach this year, as far as kind of doing my own bike work. And thankfully, about 2 weeks ago, I got a practice guy. So the last 2 weeks have been a little bit less stressful on me. But I've just, I wouldn't say speed-wise necessarily as much. I don't feel like it's much different than, say, it's been in the past. But the biggest difference I feel like is I just have the freedom to move around a little bit more, and I'm just more comfortable. And, I think as anybody who's ridden or does ride, when you're comfortable, it's things tend to be a lot easier. And that's just where I'm at. I also think that, racing those overseas stuff with the World Supercross stuff and just getting seat time in also helps. I missed all of last year. So, I guess we'll find out here in a couple of days, how well we really are. But I have felt good. But, as we've learned before, practice doesn't mean much if you can't execute come race day.
Well, yeah, you bounced around a little bit, right, from JGR to the KTM, Cowie before that. And now, you've been on this bike for the longest you've had in a few years of a motorcycle, of learning it, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So
and,
it's got to help, yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the biggest thing for me, is number one, not having to learn another motorcycle, and I know obviously it's doable. I've seen Cooper Webb win on the bike, Dungy's won on the bike, but my experience with the steel frame is just hasn't been a great experience. I've just had I've struggled just with getting, number one, getting comfortable on it, and number two, understanding how the bike works.
Right.
That's one thing that has really stumped me, as far as, even from littlest things of trying to get off the gate. I really struggled with that. So being back on a bike that I'm familiar with, obviously it's not a factory Cowie like it was during the summer, but with that being said, it is a bike that I feel good on and know pretty well. So that side of it is exciting for me to go racing because I'm back on a bike that, I enjoy being on.
Are they going to slide you some stuff, like some transmissions parts or ECU? I mean, tell me they're sliding you some stuff.
No, but to be fair, I haven't really. Well, first of all, I guess I haven't really posted anything, and it hasn't really been announced. But I'm sure Steve. But I plan on doing the first 8 AMA stuff for Rick Ware, and that will be on the World Supercross bikes. So, those bikes were already built for Mitch with the hard to find neutrals. And that kind of stuff. So with that being said, the bikes are good, but again, it's not a factory bike. But it is a bike that I feel like I can be competitive on. And what is competitive for me, is I will soon find out, but I'm trying to keep my goals realistic. I have high hopes. But I've also learned that, coming in maybe too high hopes is the easy way to get spun out. So I understand that I'm at a disadvantage, haven't tested, and I'm not quote on a factory team, but I believe in my ability. So it's trying to walk a fine line of believing in yourself, but not setting the goals too high to where you get spun out.
Well, yeah, no pressure, right? Like you're on a privateer
Yeah.
bike, and like, hey, whatever I do, I do. In a way, it's not a bad spot to be in.
No, absolutely not.
Yep.
It's the whole thing has just kind of been a little bit weird. This leading into this whole thing's been weird. We got started early with World Supercross, and then took like a week off for Thanksgiving, but then kind of just been grinding. And normally there's media obligations and all these other things, but I'll be here till Thursday. I'm gonna ride Thursday and then fly out Thursday evening and show up Friday and get ready to go racing. But yeah, no pressure, which maybe is a good thing. But at the same time, my ultimate goal is to be back on a team. Because I do feel like I can prove myself to get back on a team, and that is the goal. So there is no quote pressure, but there's always a lot of pressure from myself to perform.
Right.
Hey, what's up, Joey? This is Blake Savage. How's it going?
What's up, dude? How are you?
Oh, good. Yeah, I guess Joey and I go back.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit. We definitely have raced each other quite a bit in the past in the amateur days, things like that. And I also was racing him a bunch back when he lived in SoCal. I guess it was like 65s. He was living over by LACR, and I just remember racing him a lot back in the day. But I guess just adding on to what you guys were talking about, you're coming into the season in I guess a sneaky nice position to be in as a rider. You're on a bike that you're already familiar with, and you've proven yourself. You want to race this off season, and although it's not a factory bike, it's proven that you can go win races on a non-factory bike, like what you and even what Ken did on Reef's team. So I think that I think you're in for a good season, but I don't know. Talk about some of the improvements that you've been just working on lately.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I'm in a good spot. For me, I'll take being under the radar over being overhyped, or not overhyped, but just blasted all the time on social media with just expectations and everything. And I just think being under the radar is in my opinion, I don't hate it at all. But the biggest thing that I've just been trying to work on is just honestly racecraft, which is hard to practice during the week, but having the open eyes and the open mind to make the adjustments during the race. I think as I've proved to myself and others before, like I can usually qualify pretty well. Like my one lap speed is pretty good. Obviously it could always be better, but I feel confident in my one lap speed, and I always feel like I can put down the heaters. But when it comes to race time, I sometimes have found myself getting too excited, overriding, and just making one mistake and compounding that. So the biggest thing for me is I've just really been trying to open my mind up a little bit while I'm riding, and if something's not working, to pick up on it sooner, whether that be 3 laps instead of 7 laps or whatever it might be, but to have the idea of, okay, this line out of this corner, it's working, but it's starting to go away. Mm-hmm. I need to start searching for something else, and not getting so fixated on one line. And it is something that somebody, I tip the cap to someone like Cooper. I've said it before, but he's so good come race time to make the adjustments needed to execute the race. And that is something that I've been watching races and trying to just see what he does and how he picks up on it. And obviously it's come race time will be a different beast, but I do feel like I've gotten better at the openness to change course per se mid race.
At Cherubies USA, bringing you Joey Savatgy here on the PulpMX Show. So, a couple questions: why just the first 8? And do you have an agreement with Rick that if something comes up, you can jump to a factory team for a fill-in ride?
So,
because you're going to be first injury that comes up, you are going to be the first name out of everybody's lips.
I I hope so. Obviously I don't want to see anybody get hurt, but
yeah.
I would hope. I hope for myself that I am on the list, and obviously if I was the first one on the list, that obviously is nice because it puts me in a good spot. But yes, we have agreed that if something comes up, we'll make the adjustments to give me the opportunity to finish out Supercross with one of them. As far as why only 8, we weren't going to do any Supercross. To be honest, it's not really their thing. They want to stick to World Supercross. But Rick has been good enough with me to kind of give me the steering wheel and give me the freedom to do what I want to do. And round 8, I believe, falls in Daytona, and that lines up with one of his other sports or motorsports that he is in. I don't know which one, but it's around the same time as maybe IndyCar or something. One of those sports that it just works out. So obviously I'd love to do all of them, but we've agreed on 8, and that's where we're at.
But real good chance that you're with Rick Ware Racing for World Supercross. It kicks off in June or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I feel like listen, we've seen guys in your spots before. Ferry was there with Triple X. I've got to bring him in there. Dino and Blake. You know how this works too. If you start doing really well, Joey, and getting the top 10s and getting close to the top 5s, I wouldn't be surprised to see Theo and Dan Fahey say, hey, what do you need? What would help you? Because that's how this game works, right?
Yeah. And that's where, honestly, I got off topic earlier or changed subject, but they've been really good as far as like this whole deal with Rick Ware and I. Honestly, we just signed it. What is today? Monday last week. So like up until last week, I've honest to God been doing everything myself. I had to have somebody come help me swap motors, but I mean, other than that, I've been doing everything myself, and then finally got a practice guy. But Cowie has been very good about helping me with what they can help me with to keep me going. So that is one thing that I have to thank those guys a lot. Between Justin, my old mechanic, and Dan and Bruce and everybody, they've just been very helpful, understand my situation, and have been over the top helpful with getting me stuff that I need, the day-to-day stuff to keep me going. So
yeah, well, you start getting near the top 5s, and you're going to start seeing ECUs and triple clamps and suspension. You'll be like,
I won't be mad at it.
Yeah, no, you can't be. Absolutely. And you are going to be out of a motorhome, I understand, for these races? Like you're going to have a truck and motorhome and trailer, or what are we doing for a rig?
I think so.
Okay.
All
right.
If I'm being honest, I don't. You probably know more than I do. I just I try to stay out of it, but to my understanding, the last I heard, yes, it was supposed to be a motorhome.
Okay. All right. Are you upset that you've lost your trainer / advisor Zach Osborne to the woods? You've been having Zacho come out, which I think is awesome, but now he's all serious now.
Yeah, he's full-time woods guy. Well, not full-time. He's part-time woods guy because he only rides like 2-3 days a week. So
okay, yeah.
I don't really call it full-time yet. But yeah, it's honestly it's been good. Obviously, we've had our quote run-ins, I guess you could call it. But he has a lot of experience, and there's just believe it or not, we get along pretty well.
Yeah, I think that was really cool. Yeah.
It's just it has been nice having somebody around that has been at this level and above the level I've been at. To be honest, he's won at the premier level, but just to kind of pick his brain, here and there, and understand what why he thinks the way he does. It's just another set of eyes, and it's been good. But yeah, I was a little disappointed in him today. He's up. He's testing in South Carolina, I think.
Unbelievable.
So I told him he needs to get the PJ out. He should bend the track, and then when we're done, take the PJ back, and then he can test.
There we go. Yeah, Blake. Who would ever thought that Zach Osborne would be helping out Joey Savatgy after Vegas 2017 or whatever year it was? Right?
I know how things change over the years. You just think that in that moment it's like the biggest deal ever, and then and even just like with James and Chad going
Yep.
golfing together and stuff.
Right.
Now we got Zach and Joey working together. It's crazy. You just never know.
No, you don't, right? And it's and that's over the years I've been doing the media stuff for a long time where I've said things like, those two guys will never talk to each other. They hate each other. And I've been proven wrong a few times. So I'm always careful now because you just never know. You never know. You know, there's life and there's relationships and all of that. I remember Zach told me one time, he's like, I don't know, man. I don't even want to say hi to him because maybe he hates me. I don't know if he hates me. I don't know if I should say hi to him. It's really awkward. I was in an elevator with him once. I didn't know what to say. So.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, dude, like there's a time and a place for hard feelings and whatnot, and we actually, it gets brought up quite a bit, mainly because he always tries to like not bring it up when we're at the track, but I always make sure to bring it up. And I was out at the track, Chambers track, and he was there, and Chase was there. We were all riding together, and the topic got brought up, the Vegas thing, and I was like, or no, when Zach blasted Chase, I think at Millville. And I was like, oh, yeah. It's like, yeah, he's got a nick for that. He, I don't know if you know that, but he cleaned me out in Vegas. And I said, and then on top of that, back in San Diego in my rookie year, I got cleaned out by him too. And he's like, no, that's not true. And I'm like, I promise it's true.
Yeah.
So it's fun to, to kind of relive it. He's like, I don't know why you guys remember all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, dude, because we're on the bad side of the stick.
Right.
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Of course we're going to remember this.
Absolutely, right? So are you staying out in Cali? Is that the plan, or are you going to go back every week?
No, I'm going to come back. Dude, I don't have a bike to ride out there.
Right.
I want to ride a race bike, so I'm just gonna come back and try to stay on a program. I spent all summer in California, and obviously with 2 kids and my wife at home, it's a lot easier for me to stay back east and to be able to have family time and see the kids. So I'm going to try to take advantage of that for as long as I can.
Confirm or deny that you turned down the HEP Suzuki guys for a fill-in ride? Confirm or deny?
Middle.
You can't say that.
It was on the table.
Yeah, I don't want to. I never deny. Like, I didn't deny anybody. I just it just didn't make sense to me.
Okay. No, and listen, you've been on the record way before that with me, saying you didn't gel with Suzuki with the JGR thing. You didn't gel with it. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously we talked a little bit back and forth, and they hey, like, bike's way better, and this and that, and I'm like, hey, dude, like, I believe you guys, like, I believe, and I think what the program that they have, they do a really good job. They present themselves well. Like, the whole thing is they do a good job of. But for me in my career where I'm at, it just didn't make sense to me, and that was the bottom line. I just felt like, hey, in my mind, this is what my gut's telling me, and I've learned to not go against my gut, and that's the best, simplest way to put it.
Well, again, like, you're a privateer. Rick Ware's helping you. Probably the HEP deal was more money and maybe a little bit more taken care of than Rick Ware. But, like, I think that there's power in a rider, and I've seen this all the time. I know privateer guys that aren't on your level, Joey, and they sign with these B teams or C teams, no offense to these guys, to the teams. And then they're like, oh, I got to use this linkage. I got to use this suspension company. I got to do this. I got to do that. And I hate it. I never got to do my own bike. Starling and Carnow, a couple of successful privateers that are like, yeah, I just want to do my own thing so I can use my sponsors and ride the bike I want. And I think that goes to your level too, where you're like, look, I just want to ride the Cowie. I like it. I had bad juju on the Suzuki with JGR.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a powerful statement, and you'll make more money and have more success in the long haul than taking the short-term deal,
Yeah, and to be honest, like, where I'm at right now, I don't feel like, not that the money is not important for me, but, like, I've been down that road of weighing, okay, well, if I go here, I can make $4,000 more dollars. For me, I want to go down the route of, hey, I feel confident with where I'm at in my growing process, and I want to. If I'm going to go racing, I want to race and I want to enjoy what I'm doing. I know it's going to suck. Like, I know that it's going to be a grind, and I know there's going to be times where my heart rate's at 195 and I'm like, I want to quit it because it's so hard. But those times is going to be even more important that I'm riding on a bike that I enjoy riding.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of why I made the decision I did, because it just makes it makes the most sense to me to go racing and enjoy racing. And to be honest, the last 2 years or 3 years, I just haven't enjoyed it. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like being back on the Cowie for World Supercross really brought, I don't want to say a spark back, but really just brought back the enjoyment of racing. And it reminded me like, hey, you know, as a kid, you wanted to race professionally. And, you know, as you got older, you wanted to race, and then we got the PC, and we were doing well. We were enjoying racing. I know sometimes I didn't look like it, but it's just because I held myself to a high standard. But then as I got away from that, I enjoyed my year in 19 with Cowie. I had a great time, so like I made good progress. But then, like the next couple of years, I started to fade away from the enjoyment and more into the misery of every day getting up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, I got to go to the track. I got to ride. I got to do this. And, you know, like really sitting around this summer, sitting around when I was with my injury or my knee last January, I really had time to think, like, dude, what am I doing? You know, like right. I personally feel like my ability on a motorcycle is really good, and I know I can still be competitive, but you know, I know there's things I need to fix on. But like, dude, like, what do I need to do to get back to that? And then obviously the Cowie thing unfolded, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right away, like the first 2 weeks I was out there on that bike, I'm like, oh, dude, I love it. Like obviously, a lot of it had to do with being on a team again, but
Mm-hmm.
back on a bike that I enjoyed. So then the World Supercross thing came about, and then going racing, like I wasn't like dreading it. Like I was actually excited to go racing because number one, I was back on a gate, but two, like I said, I hate to keep saying it, but enjoying being on a motorcycle again. And it just brought so much positivity to like the outlook of doing the work and the grinding and the suffering during the week that, you know, like I've actually been
Mm-hmm.
enjoying it again. And that's, you know, to me, that speaks volume, and that's the path.
Sure.
That's the path I want to keep going.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. It shows that you have a lot of belief in yourself and you have confidence in this bike and even in the team. So I just want to say good luck to you this season, Joey. I know I'm going to be cheering you on, and yeah, best of luck.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah,
Good to hear from you.
it's a cool story. I think this could be a real cool story, and coming in with no pressure. And you know, what did you get? 8th last year, 9th last year in the opener, right?
Yeah, 8th.
8th, yeah.
Yeah, 8th. Yeah.
You got a quiet 8th last year, and we all talk about these stacked field, right? And now you're on a privateer bike, so you know,
Yep.
I've been there a little bit, like with Red Dog and Nick Way when we were full privateers and got in the top 10 at Anaheim, and fuck, it's a pretty cool feeling at the opening round when everybody's there that you're busting in the top 10 on a bike that you kind of just put together, you know. So
yeah, that's quote underbiked.
Yeah,
or not the same level. So
Mm-hmm.
I agree. It'll be
yeah. Well, thanks for the time, man. Appreciate it, Joey. We'll see you this Saturday. Yeah, again, thanks for the time. Good luck with everything, and I'm sure I'll try to find you in the pits somewhere. Maybe you can shoot off a flare or something at some point.
Yeah, I'll send out the Batman call.
All right, perfect. Thanks, man.
10-4. Yep,
All right,
see you, boys.
See ya. That's Joey Savatgy, everybody. And honestly, I mean, he's on the line, so I'm pumping it up to him, but I really feel that way. No pressure.